Hello, welcome to this video. Today we're going to talk about wild garlic. So wild garlic, as the name implies, is garlic that grows in the wild. En français, ail des bois literally translates to garlic of the forest, garlic of the woods. So a good place to start looking for wild garlic is in a forest, in a wooded area. So wild garlic does prefer partial shade. It also prefers deciduous trees. So around here, not a lot of evergreens. And it also prefers moist, well-drained soils. So now that you kind of know what to look for, where can you forage wild garlic? So obviously, if you own property, if you have acreage land and you've got trees, a forest, you're allowed to forage on your own property. If you have friends and family members who own land as well, as long as you get their permission, you are allowed to forage there. Much like any other private property, as long as you get permission from the landowner, then you can forage there as well. As well in Canada, Crown land, you are generally allowed to forage on Crown land as well. It is important to note that provincial parks, national parks, natural preserves, and then other sort of protected lands, you're generally not allowed to forage there. So do make sure you double check before you start to forage. Also, wild garlic will grow in zones 4 through 9. So here where we are, we're zone 5B. So we're in a good location to find some wild garlic. Now here in Ontario, there are no laws or regulations when it comes to harvesting wild garlic. That being said, if you find wild garlic where you're foraging, it's a good idea not to harvest all of it. It is a perennial, so you do want to leave some behind. It has been over foraged in some areas and it's sort of been removed entirely because of over foraging. So do make sure that, like I said, especially if you're doing it on Crown land or somewhere where it's more public, do leave some behind for other people, but also for it to make sure that it can come back. On the Quebec side, there is laws and regulations. You are only allowed to harvest 200 grams or about 50 heads or bulbs of wild garlic. So do make sure, again, if you're across Canada, to double check your provincial guidelines and regulations on harvesting wild garlic. As well, if you're in the States, I don't know what the rules are in the States, so do double check where you are and just make sure that you are allowed to harvest your wild garlic. Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's start looking for wild garlic. All right, so walking around, I can show you, you might find something like this. This is not wild garlic. When you're looking at it, it's got big bunches of leaves together, many leaves. This is not it. This is not wild garlic. But as you can see, the snow is melted. It is early spring right now. Early spring. It's like April 17th or 18th today. We did have snow quite late in the season. So that is why it's a little bit later. It might be earlier in the year, depending on when the snow melts. But here, this is the first little patch. I just found this one. There's another area around here as well. But this right here, move these branches, this is wild garlic. So it is still very early in the season, so these leaves are quite small. It does usually get a lot bigger. They're very thin and flat and tall. So I'm not gonna pick this right now, but I wanted to show you at least this is what it looks like when it's still small. So it is easy to kind of miss, especially when it's still this small. But we'll keep walking and I'll show you another patch. So as we're coming down in here, again, you can see lots of dry leaves everywhere. Right here. Again, more wild garlic. Like I said, it's still very small. I wanted to get this video made and put out before the end of wild garlic season so that you had a chance to go out and see if you can find some yourself. So it is still quite small. The leaves are not actually fully open yet. Like I said, it does get much bigger and flat. And this whole area, these will eventually grow up much taller. They're a lot easier to see once they're bigger, but I at least wanted to give you a quick idea. We're gonna go to another little patch and I will dig one up and show you what it looks like. Okay, I found a couple here. Unfortunately, they're growing in an area where the tractor goes by, and I don't want to lose them. So we're going to dig these two out, because otherwise they're going to get squished anyways. So I have a little spoon. Just move some of the soil away. Try to see if I can dig it out. There we go. So this is what it looks like. Again, this is very, very small, so it's not a very good representation. I will post a picture of wild garlic as well, so you can see what it looks like once it's bigger. But all of this is edible. The white part is like the bulb, the head, and then these leaves are kind of nice and tender. When they're big and they're flat, you can cut them and put, like, sort of ribbon them into salads. It still tastes like garlic, but it's a little bit more subtle. It's quite good. Okay, this is the patch I wanted to show you. You can already see the leaves here are a bit bigger. Still not fully open yet, but that's kind of what you're looking for. This big, flat, you can see it's very thin, very flat. So this whole area here, there, here, and then even on this side, there's some more here, there, that whole area right here is all wild garlic. Growing underneath this log. All right, these are what the leaves are going to look like. This is the one that was underneath the log here. So the bulb did end up staying in the ground. I couldn't quite dig it out, so that's okay. I've got the leaves instead. But that will show you, this is what you're going to see. So everywhere on the forest, it's going to look like this. On the forest floor, I mean. So all of these will be that big. So it's a lot easier to see them when they're this size than when they're still teeny tiny that size. So you'll be looking for this. And I suspect another week or so, they'll be about this size. Now, in terms of flavor, tastes like garlic. A lot more subtle. It's good. It reminds me a little bit of like chives. But this is very good in salads. So this whole part is edible. The entire thing is edible, basically. So this, like I said, you'll have garlic breath. But if you're making a nice green salad, I would just sort of ribbon these leaves and mix it into your salad. It tastes quite nice. Like I said, the white bottom part, the bulb, kind of like garlic. You can slice it, chop it, put it in salads as well. You can cook with it. Either way, it's delicious. So there you go. That's your wild garlic. And I hope you get a chance to find some where you are, and or on Crown land, and or on a friend or family member's property. Wait, maybe again within another week or so. I imagine the leaves should be big and open, easier to see. But if you want to find a spot, if you have your own property, maybe put a flag or something nearby to help remind you where your patches are, and harvest only a little bit at a time, and make sure that it comes back year after year and it can grow back. So it's lots of fun every year to go out and forage for a little bit of wild garlic on your land. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you get a chance to get some wild garlic and have fun foraging. Thanks for watching.